I have been asked to share the story of the very beginning birth of the Living Earth movement. Um, Dr. Cobb was preaching at Jeff Wells' church, Church of the Common Home, as a guest preacher about my favorite subject, love of enemies. And so I attended on Zoom. This is just a few months ago. And he gave a wonderful sermon. And then he gave a chilling and electrifying benediction. Closing words, he said, I want everyone here to imagine President Xi and President Biden coming together and working together to save our world. And it was electrifying. And then we had a Zoom gathering discussion. And I said to him, I said, John, I've been to China with you. You know, people in high-ranking positions in the Chinese government. If there's one person on the planet that really can make that invitation, it's you. You've got to do it. And about an hour later, I got an email from John Cobb, and he had written a letter to President Xi of China and President Biden. And he wrote in his email, Bonnie, I need your help with this. Well, in my world, if John Cobb asks you for help, you do whatever you can. And I have done whatever I could ever since. We have are hoping to, we've hired a publicist and he's doing radio interviews, and we're hoping so much that he can become the teacher of America that he has been in China, that he indeed can offer solutions and understanding of the root causes of how, if we think in this way, we have to change the way we think in order to create an ecological civilization. So we have gathered and we have been meeting for months, and we so look forward to working with all of you in order to begin a global movement of citizens and leaders doing everything we can for mothers and children of all species and for all future generations.
Welcome, one and all. Thank you for helping me celebrate my birthday by helping all of us celebrate the birth of yet another organization that cares for a living earth. It differs from many such organizations in that it seeks to concentrate efforts on the places of greatest promise and greatest threat. Some of you have seen the movie, Don't Look Up. It is a spoof on how humans respond to the news that catastrophe is coming. One of the many realistic depictions of our unrealistic responses is about the media. The news media are, of course, primarily interested in holding and increasing their audience. They also feel some obligation to inform their audience that a huge comet is heading for our planet. Well-informed people are ready to tell the world about the likelihood of extinction. The media insists that they must tell the story in a way that is entertaining and not upsetting. This is ridiculous, of course, but what is the alternative? How can we provide desperately needed information in such a way as to build a movement that has a chance of preventing the worst and initiating experiments that could lead to a genuinely positive future? Well, we hope that we have provided enjoyable listening that has deepened our hope. Without hope, hearing the truth may close us to the truth. The movie title is the slogan of those who, as the comet's approach can be seen, recommended not looking up. That way they could ignore the threat. I hope we can, for a few minutes, look up. The process movement to which I have given my life has had its greatest success in China. The Chinese, including high levels of government, have seen it as helpful in constructing a new China. Hundreds of potential leaders have come to Claremont to reflect with us about the ecological civilization. so closely connected with process thought, to which China has committed itself. Scores of American process thinkers have also visited China. The process community now embodies the kind of relationship that we hope for between American and Chinese people. Our hope for ecological civilization guides our response to climate change and other global crises. President Biden asked the Chinese to cooperate on climate change. They signaled readiness to do so. A high-level committee has been created. The situation seems genuinely hopeful. However, the United States is increasingly giving priority to weakening China rather than cooperating with it. It was this situation of apparent possibility, undercut by hostile actions, that brought into being the Living Earth movement. With such cooperation, we think that is possible. We think the world has a chance. If the United States and China use their resources chiefly to oppose each other, the glimmer of hope dies. So hope still lives, but every indication is that the United States gives higher priority to the containment of China than to cooperating with it. The choice of life or death for the earth has never been more sharply formed. Many people think that, of course, they prefer life, but not at the cost of ignoring China's crimes. But if our goal is really to improve the condition of minorities within China, we should know that real friends might help China do so, but that gunboat diplomacy no longer works. Maybe subordinating the future of the earth to feeling righteous about protesting some of China's policies is not a wise choice. We think a livable earth for our descendants should be our first priority.
Thank you so much, John, for your wonderful message. And at this time, I would like to introduce our special guests who will give their offerings and greetings. And we begin with Jane Goodall. Jane Goodall is a world-renowned primatologist and environmentalist. She is well known for her long-term study of wild chimpanzees in Tanzania. The Gombe Chimp Observation, which Jane began in 1960, is the world's longest-running continuous wildlife research project. Can we now play the video message from Jane Goodall?
Hello, this is Jane Goodall. And first of all, I'd like to take this opportunity of wishing John Cobb a very happy birthday. Happy birthday, John. I'm so delighted to have a chance to say just a few words at the launch of the Living Earth movement. We're going through very dark times as we face the climate crisis and the loss of biodiversity. And it's desperately important that people understand we're part of and we depend on the natural world. That is, we depend on healthy ecosystems. We're jeopardizing the future of our children by our disrespect of nature and by the absurd belief that there can be unlimited economic development on a planet with finite natural resources that already in some places are being used up faster than nature can replenish them. And there are those who think that short-term gain is more important than protection of the environment for the future. And we have to start doing things differently. We need a new mindset. We need an understanding of the importance of living in harmony with nature. This is the main message that I share as I speak to people in different countries around the world, and particularly to young people of all ages. The Living Earth movement is bringing together powerful voices, urging all countries to cooperate together for the sake of life on Earth and for the future. And most importantly, an agreement between the most powerful economies to work together in a new way on these pressing ecological issues. We must all act now, before it's too late.
And now we'd like to hear from John Perkins. He has advised heads of governments, the World Bank, and other international organizations. He is the author of many books on global economics and indigenous cultures, including his upcoming book, The New Confessions of an Economic Hitman, 3rd edition, China's Strategy, and he is also a founder of the Pachamama Alliance. John.
Thank you so much, Audrey. John Cobb, what a group of people you've brought together here today on your birthday. My goodness, it's incredible. And to see you with those children, that says it all. That's what this is all about. It's that generation. You know, I'm struck as we move forward with this Living Earth movement. What does it mean to be human on the living earth? And I spend a lot of time with indigenous people in the Amazon and other places who really believe that they are a part of nature. And I think one of the problems that we've in the modern world have, if you want to call it the modern world, is that we've defined ourselves as apart from nature, human supremacy over nature. And that doesn't fit in very well with being part of this living earth. So it's about redefining it. And that's what this movement to me is all about. The Living Earth movement means, how do we come into this? And thank you so much for leading the way and making that happen. There's a vision of if there were aliens hovering above us, if we were threatened by aliens, China and the United States, and probably Russia too, and India and Brazil, we'd all come together. So I think it's important, and I think one of the ways that you've led us, John, is to understand that in a certain way we've alienated ourselves from our planet. We have called ourselves, we have defined ourselves as apart from, not a part of. That means we're aliens. So this Living Earth movement is the opportunity for all of us to redefine that. The Chinese, the Americans, the Russians, the Brazilians, everybody, come together. Everybody listening here, all these remarkable people that are here to celebrate your incredible life and your birthday. And thank God you were born. And so let's move forward with this Living Earth idea that we are a part of. We're not supreme over. We are a part of this living earth, and that's the Living Earth movement. And I am just so honored to have come to know you late in my own life and to be part of your birthday celebration with these remarkable people. Thank you, John Cobb, and happy, happy birthday to you, and happy birthday to the Living Earth movement. Thank you.
We'd like to call now on Corinna Gore, who is an author, lawyer, and activist, and daughter of former Vice President Al Gore. She is a founder and director of the Center for Earth Ethics at Union Theological Seminary. Corinna Gore.
Thank you so much, Audrey, and thank you to everyone here. I'm honored to be included. I first learned about John Cobb when I was a student at Union Theological Seminary, in an educational experience that totally changed my life. I'm grateful to my professor, Gary Dorian, for introducing me to Dr. Cobb's thought. What a revelation and what a relief. It was a theology that made total sense without leaving the heart behind. A fearless dispelling of illusions, a release from dualism and history of dualisms. As Dr. Cobb has said, the most we can do is to deal with the conditions of the present, with what wisdom we can muster, always recognizing the particularity of our perspective. So I am not as distinguished a scholar of his work as others giving testimonials here, but I just want to say, and for you all to know, that even just those initial glimpses of his work gave me a sense of the possibilities of this life, at a time when I was one of those really considering giving up on them. And I think most of all, what I've appreciated is that it's both totally profound and common sense at the same time, and has a real commitment to making ideas matter beyond the ivory tower. So now I'm honored to know him. I'm honored to serve on the board of Pandopopulous with him and continue to learn from him. I'm in awe of his energy and insight. And finally, I just want to say I take very seriously this charge. Thank you for your words, Dr. Cobb, to focus on this relationship between the US and China in the way that you have described. The two biggest sources of the pollution that has brought us to this absurdly perilous situation, the ones with the most power to make the global change we need. Of course, we have to approach this relationship with the deepest wisdom we human beings are capable of. There is no time for those dualisms or polarities that John Cobb has worked hard to free us from. This is indeed about the living earth. And so I want to thank Dr. Cobb, say happy, happy birthday, and let's make that ecological civilization together. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am grateful for this chance to make some closing remarks. These include my renewed expression of gratitude to all of you for helping to launch our movement. By itself, thanks to you, tonight's event has been a success. But the real question is whether it will also be a success in launching a movement. We must decide on goals. An example of a realistic goal would be that during the next presidential campaign, the discussion about China will not simply be whether candidates at all levels are tough enough on China. That is useless or worse. We should be questioning candidates about whether the US should work with China to resolve global crises such as climate change. Our goal might be to make this question widely asked. To accomplish this change of topics, work will be needed to be done all over the country. In many congressional districts, candidates for the House will need to be helped to understand both the negative consequences of our current priorities and the viable options. But they are not likely to give us much attention unless they think these are questions for many of their constituents. As a movement, we will have a moving target. Right now, it is my judgment that the evil most to be avoided is a war with China. And the good most to be sought is cooperative leadership between the United States and China toward preserving the living earth. But we will need to be open to historical changes that close the present options and open others. Our task is thinking as well as acting. Friends, the hour is late, very late. But there is hope, as long as we do not give up hoping. Being alert for opportunities, we plunge ahead. May all of us experience the support of all.